So we are going to start off, and today, before starting, so good afternoon, teachers. Those who attended the session we had the day before yesterday. So this is like an overlapping thing for this, for what we did, and day before, yeah. So it's a little bit overlapping, but this time it's more towards the practical approach and how to involve the children also into the process of storytelling or stories, in fact, of building up stories together as well. Yes, so just to when it comes to storytelling, let me just give you a brief introduction to uh, like I have been doing storytelling since past 2 years or so, and 2 years, 2.5 years, and also when I was a preschool teacher, I used to teach it, I used to conduct storytelling sessions in school. We used to have these puppet shows and everything. So it has always been a topic which has been very close to me. So let's just go ahead, and I hope you enjoy this session as well. And yes, and as and when we need, I want your participation as well. Let's just go ahead. Yeah. So today the topic what we are going to cover is early reading and storytelling. Okay, so early reading and storytelling means it is not necessary that you won't expect a preschool child to just open the book, read, and narrate a story to you. But no, we just want that push. We want to give that push to the child, to the to the children to as and when they keep growing. This is when they start taking those baby steps as well in this particular criteria. Okay, so we have 1 minute. Yeah. So in this session, the goal, my target in this session was for this session for you all was basically to understand like a practical approach. By now, like in every edu project workshop that we conduct, we have a we try to take more of a practical approach which is applicable in the classroom. Okay, not theoretical, yes, but we try to sideline it, and we end up sidelining it a little bit, but because we want things that can be done, and things that can make the teacher's work also easier, and the goal that or the aim that we plan to reach, we get there. So different how they encouraging children to narrate, to create their stories. So this is all where what we plan to achieve. Now, the power of storytelling in language development, the first and foremost criteria. When you talk about why is it so important? Okay, the children are still learning, alphabet. They are still, they are still learning two-letter words, three-letter words, and this is that initial phase. So why is it more? See, storytelling is not something that you just have to, kill time. Okay, we have 10 minutes. Let me do a quick story. Along with entertainment, along with making the children busy, like keeping them attentive to what you're talking, it also helps them when it comes to developing the language, their comprehension, their imaginative skills. They just skyrocket, like they start thinking in a very, very amazing and a genuinely, it's just like makes you feel wow. And social skills, of course, because in stories, we discuss, there's a conversation happening uh, between the two characters, or what goes on. So the children are learning also how to express. Now, the importance. Okay, so I have just put across some pointers. These are very basic pointers. They are nothing like, these are something which most of you might be aware of. I'm just going to brush you through that. Enhancing listening skills, yes, because last time also I said, listening skills is something which is like, should be at a priority at this age, because now the environment, the surrounding for the children is as such, with screen time, and with those, they tend to keep their attention span is very short. So to increase their attention span, because of that attention span issue, their listening skills are also getting affected. So many different things. But if their listening skills are developed, automatically their attention span also increases. So this is where we want that. there should be encouragement towards listening skills. This will help them, to focus, to process the information that they are taking, and of course understand it. So then we have builds vocabulary. Was vocabulary building is something, like, it's like, how we save money and over the years we have this chunk in our bank account. The same thing goes for vocabulary bank. Like, you start saving, start, depositing some words into the bank, and by the time when children are growing up, when they are giving their exams, in the higher grades, this is where the vocabulary bank, the deposited words come out, and they help you. That's where our investment goes in. So, vocabulary, so they are learning. Even if you think that they are not going to apply it, or they are just staring at you and listening, and remember, they are processing the information. It develops comprehension. Now, comprehension, matlab, they know the sequence. Ki, okay, the story began like this. This is the mid part. Now the story ended. So they know that something that starts, it has a beginning part, a middle part. So, and the end of the story. Sequencing. So, for example, if there's a story wherein the character is introduced, then the character is faced with a problem, and the fourth part will be the third part will be the character solves that problem and is happy. So in this, the children know that it won't be that they solves the problem, is happy, and then introduce, and then the introduction of the character, and then the problem is coming up. No, so they know to break the sequence, and this applies in all the other subjects or all the other things that they do in daily lives also. So sequencing comes into cause and effect relationship. Like, if I am being mean towards, if this particular character is being unfair towards the other one, that character is going to face the repercussions. That character may, end of the day, that the character loses the thing or whatever. So they know, good behavior, bad behavior, everything, comes into this. So cause and effect bhi samajhte hai. They can learn to express themselves. They can then, we used to save anecdotes. Like, when children would be playing, they would be eating, or when they are drawing, and you would just ask, we used to ask our preschool children, what are you drawing, or tell me more about what you did, have you eaten this kind of a food earlier. And on that, just giving some prompts, and encouraging the child, they would come up with interesting experiences. I mean, they would express themselves very clearly, and they would share their experiences with you. And these were anecdotes. So we used to, record these anecdotes, like, write it down right after the child said it, or, sit down with a diary, and when the child is talking, you just happen to quietly write it down, or the co-teacher will write it down, with either ways. But these anecdotes were like a treasure. Like, you come to know how the child is, when you started taking anecdotes, once in a while, one anecdote a week or anything. So that when the child is, how the child expressed himself, or, when the child was in the beginning of the year, and by second term, that the child, now the anecdote goes on for like 10 length and lines, and they are able to express themselves way better. So these things, it really helps. And trust me, it goes parallel with storytelling, because you will then see, if you've just put across a phrase, your own phrase into the story, or you've given some expression, and then you'll see when you're talking to the child or children, like you're talking to your students, you will know that they are also putting in that phrase in their conversation. They may come up with a similar kind of an expression. So it's a lovely journey, wherein you and the students, there's this, it's like you are just enjoying that phase. So just, this happens to stories when they are able to express themselves, and they are able to do it. So anecdotes was something that we used to record, and if you all also would want to do, it's a great thing. I know it's little bit more of work for the teachers, but yeah. Then we have connects emotions with language. Like, they can understand themselves. See, here, in this uh, current scenario, it is very difficult. There are, like, when we as children, we would feel, happy, sad, angry, hungry. Yeah. Now it is this that children, there is a need for the children to understand themselves. I'm anxious, I am excited, I am shocked, I am scared. These all, uh, they need they need that, introduction of how to understand themselves, what emotions they are feeling. For us it was very simple. Now since it's little complex for around us, we need to introduce more emotions also into the children. Then we have, okay, now I am going to narrate the story. I will just say it in one particular manner. Then I want you all to just write in the chat box. Okay, uh, I'll narrate two different ways, or I'll just do first half into another, some one way, and the second half into another way. You tell me which story do you enjoy, which part did you enjoy. And of course, uh, this is what, yeah, okay, because I wouldn't want, first, basically the aim for reading the story was that I wanted you all to imagine. I wanted you all to know, like, how did you imagine Mia, the character? How did you imagine what color, or what color of the cat was there? How did the baker look, or the florist look? So that all I wanted to know. But let's see, I'll just narrate the story. Yeah, let's just go ahead. So, the name of the story is The Lost Kitten. Mia found a tiny kitten outside her house. Meow, it cried, looking scared. Are you lost? Mia asked. She picked it up gently and looked around. She asked the baker, Is this your kitten? No, but try the florist, he said. Now I'm going with the second part. The florist shook her head. Maybe the house with the red door. Mia knocked, and an old lady smiled. Whiskers, you found him. Thank you. Dear, the kitten purred happily. Mia felt warm inside. Helping felt good. Moral of the story is kindness always finds its way back. Okay, so I did one, of course, I did with lots of expressions. I did those, how we are supposed to narrate the story because that's where we are going. And I also did the second one without any narrations as if I'm just reading it. So now I want you all to tell me, of course, first or second part, which did you enjoy listening to? And secondly, if you imagined, how did you imagine Mia when you were listening? How did you imagine the kitten or the old lady? If you can just share it in the group chat, that's okay. That would be great. Because mute and unmute won't work. You can just put across your ideas in the group. Yes, first part, of course. Yes, thank you. And you can also tell me how did you imagine, like what, when you were listening, the tiny kitten, what color do you think was that kitten of? Was it like white, it had white fur, gray? Yeah, story should contain, of course, but that's the idea. White and brown, yeah. Thank you all. Yes. Thank you, teachers. So I know that I am not that boring that no, you all are, I mean, I'm glad you all are still awake. And yeah, so the idea for this is that you need to, of course, we need pictures when it comes to children. I didn't want to put in a lot of pictures into this slide because, then my purpose was that I want you can also try this activity wherein read a simple story without showing any pictures, okay, and ask the children to describe what they imagine. This helps in building visualization skills and, of course, active listening. Yes, so if you want, you can take a screenshot or click a picture of the story if you want to use the story, or else you can take any story, but once just don't show pictures. Tell them to listen and then ask them. You will see like interesting answers coming up to you. See, white kitten, and like somebody had white and brown, there's white kitten, like so many. I thought of this as a a brown kitten with stripes on it, and that's how I imagined. So everybody comes up with a different thing. And how old do you think Mia was? What was Mia wearing? So many different questions you can ask the children. Yes, so if you want, you can take a screenshot, and I will move ahead now. Do you want me to wait? Okay, let me wait for 1 second. Click if you wish to, and then we can go. We want the children to imagine and we want the children to listen. This is the idea of reading a story without any pictures or showing them anything. Okay, now we come, now we come to techniques for effective storytelling. Now you heard me narrating the first part for the story, wherein I used several different techniques into while narrating that part. Okay, I'll show you as and when we are going ahead. You will also relate to what all I was talking about. But like, what makes stories engaging for our young children? See, it is how we are narrating the story. Most importantly, you know with the narration only, their imagination, they start putting their imagination to use the moment you start narrating a story. That's how it should affect the children. Like, once upon a time, in a big jungle. The moment you say big jungle, the way you say it should be like the children, it should be like, okay, they'll start imagining lots and lots of trees, and there are some flowers and some animals, what all things, but they'll imagine. Yes, so this is where we want the techniques. This is where it comes into the picture. Now there are some key techniques. Of course, we have voice modulation. Voice modulation is like extremely crucial. Monotone hua na, so it will become very dull. We have to keep taking the voice, change the voice accordingly, like, different, use different voices, give that effect into it. Like, here I've given an example. When there's a giant in a story, so the giant will talk, who are you, why have you come in my house, so the way the giant talks, so you have giving that, extra effects to it. Then we have a mouse will say, I am so sorry, I didn't know this was your house, Mr. Giant. So, so this is how the conversation is going. Depending on the voice also, they'll understand that, okay, this voice was you, like thick and slow and deep voice, so that it is the giant, like, you can imagine accordingly. And the voice, if you have a squeaky and that kind of a voice, then it is like a tiny thing what you're using. So that's how we want our characters to be imagined. Then we have facial expressions. Now, of course, you know when you narrate with your expressions, of course, voice modulation to hai hi, but expression, so the children can associate the emotions the character, or the story is trying to give across. Like, abhi three little pigs hai, so three little pigs may, for example, one I have put across the example of the wolf, but the pigs, so now the pigs were scared. So in the moment you show, that the pigs were scared, the wolf was right outside their house. And so like the expression is where they understand, okay, scared, so this is how you do, like, this is how you end up expressing, and why are they feeling scared, so they understand the word scared, uska matlab kya hai. Yes, so then, of course, see, this is crucial. Pacing and pauses. When I was learning, when I had just started teaching, my thing was, in that excitement for narrating a story, getting that, I would just rush into the story. Like, no pauses bhi hote to like just a fraction of second, and then but I would just go on. And I used to see the children could not follow up. Of course, it was little fast, but then, when I was given a feedback and I was corrected, then I understood, because it used to get frustrating for me that I am putting so much efforts in putting narrating a story, but why are my children not enjoying it? you know so, like, if you put those, like this way, the example I've put, and the bear came closer and closer, and then, pause, like, वो सस्पेंस क्रिएट करते हैं. मूवी भी आप देखोगे तो मूवी में भी, like, this is more, remember, pacing and pauses, like Ekta Kapoor series. You remember, like, they would show those faces before the actual content coming up. So similar to that, we need it, to build the tempo of the story. Props and puppets. Okay, abhi props and puppets, of course, our children are young, so they enjoy props and puppets. But I would also say that once in a while, do a story without any props or puppets. Either just open a book and narrate, or just narrate without any book, or dramatize without any particular prop. So that this is where they apply. And then when you give them props related to that story, teachers, when you narrate a story without any props, you just narrate it or dramatize it, your choice. After that, next day, if you put across those the props that could have been used for that story for the children, trust me, the children will automatically use those props and re narrate the story with you if you give it to them, because we want them to imagine that this could have been used, like Goldilocks was eating from the biggest bowl. He was having porridge from the biggest bowl. So they will imagine the big bowl. Some will imagine it red, orange, whatever. But this is how it works. So try that as well, so once in a while. Interactive elements. Abhi ye last class also twice, thrice I must have mentioned. Repeat and predict. Repeat and predict. This is like for everything. Whatever, if you are teaching any concepts or doing stories, repetition is needed, and prediction is also, to keep them glued to the story. I won't go much into that. Now, there's one more story I just wanted to apply. If one of you teachers would want to do it, just raise your hand first. I will call out if you all are interested in narrating this story. We would want to, if you are applying, you can apply the techniques that we've just mentioned and you can do it. Anybody? Okay, okay. Chalo. Then I'll only do. Okay, so it's Lily's broken toy. Lily's favorite teddy bear, Coco, had a torn ear. Tears welled up in her eyes. Oh no! Coco is hurt! She sobbed. Her mother hugged her. Let's fix him together. With careful stitches, Coco was as good as new. Lily smiled through her tears and said, "Thank you, Mama." She hugged Coco tightly. "I'll take even better care of you now." That night, she whispered, "I love you, Coco." And for the first time, she felt love wasn't just in toys, it was in hugs, care, and warm hearts. Moral of the story: love is in the little things that we do. Yeah. So, here, if you see, I did proper pacing of the story. There were pauses as well. Pauses, I tried to exaggerate the pause a little bit just to give that thing. I showed expressions, facial expressions, you know, well, when she sobbed or she was grateful that her mama stitched it for her. So, this is how you can also do it. Now, choosing and creating stories. Which age group, what stories? I remember I was doing a story for nursery, and I happened to take the story which was more applicable for junior, senior children. And trust me, it was a disaster. And in fact, I had made a backdrop, I had made certain props, I had put in so much efforts. But my first step of selection of story was not to the mark. And of course, it did not go the way I wanted it to. So, yeah, that was how I learned my lesson. Now, why is it important? Of course, why story selection is important. It is basically important, because we want the children to relate to it and be engaged into it. If you do a story for which is applicable for senior KG children and do it for nursery, they won't be able to relate to it as much as they should, and they won't even enjoy it the way you wanted them to enjoy it. So, this is how this is why it is so important. Now, guidelines. These are just few basic things. Of course, age appropriate language hona chahiye. Like the language should be appropriate, you know, keeping sentences short, simple, repetitive. Relatable characters hone chahiye, like stories with animals. See, animals are something that the children relate the most to. If you see most of the stories like Panchatantra, Chakata, Aesop's fables, everything, all these have animals as their main characters. Why? Because this is where, children relate to the animals the most, and they remember also things associated with them. So, keep it simple. Simple rakho animals, yeah, relatable as in, abhi for example, see, for the kids to connect, like Peppa Pig stories. If you see Peppa Pig, most of the things that they do are very relatable to the children at this age. So they connect to it. All the characters. Guidelines may, now next is interactive elements. Of course, won't say it, repetition and prediction. Moral. Now, when you put across a moral, keep it very simple and short. Yeah. This moral, my son, in fact, recently he made me realize what I used to do if I would narrate a story to them. And after, when we come into the moral, I would enter into that giving gyan mode, wherein I would keep, giving them that gyan on the moral. Like this, you should have this, you should have done this. So my son, one of my sons, he just stared at me, and all he told me was that, Mama, we understood what you're trying to say from the story. Now it's getting a little boring. I know, the thing what I initially I felt bad. I'm like, hello, I'm just trying to share something with you. But that was it. Moral, agar if you simplify it, one line moral kar diya. Matlab, they have understood the story. It is like putting that lock onto the understanding what they've understood, So I used to get a little carried away. Now I've pulled myself back. But yeah, it is important. Cultural relevance. Abhi, once upon a time in the jungle, the animals were celebrating Diwali. So, they'll imagine there are lights put up, this and that. So, if you are putting some cultural influence also, which they are, since if Diwali is coming up and you make them do it, these kind of a story, so they can associate it faster. And whatever we want them to know about culture is also being put across. So suitable stories, I've just got one example for you all. Play school matlab dear zoo, wherein there is some interaction happening. Flip and flap book hai, so lift the flap, see who is there, and there is simple, very basic, simple. Three little pigs hai, so there are simple characters, repetitive structure hai usme, which the nursery children at this age more relate with. Then for junior KG, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. अभी इसमें sequencing आ गया, emotion आ गया, decision making आ गया. Of course, the same thing has simple characters. The same thing, but we are just include adding one criteria into it. Now, if we talk about the Graffello, so there is rhyming text, imaginative elements hai, prediction aa gaya. So along with the decision making, emotions, sequencing, so ये सब apply करके करके till the time they are ready for these many attributes in a story. Now, how to create simple stories. Now, this particular thing na I totally enjoy. Why? Because, if you just randomly, give me, for example, a mobile phone and a water bottle, and trust me, on that also you can sit and create a story. Like it's about a girl, or one's mobile phone was very sad, and blah blah blah. Whatever you can come up with, you can create your own story, and what you want to put across can be done through that. So if you can't find the perfect story of any particular value you want to imbibe into the children, or you want to teach any particular concept, and if you are not getting a story, just create one. So I'm just giving you some steps of how we can create, just most of you might be doing it as well, but I'm just giving it to you stepwise. First, pick up a familiar theme. For example, something with the children are aware of, like going to school, visiting a park, making friends, any particular theme. For example, then we have use repetitive and rhyming words. वो डालते रहो, like the rabbit was wanted to ate the carrot, ate the carrot, crunch crunch crunch. So add those repetitive words, it will be easier. Keep the story short. Too long means loss of attention, that we know. Add a problem and a solution. See, koi bhi story aap le lo. When I did a story writing workshop for elder kids earlier, when I used to do, there was, in those 4-step story planning, we used to have this, like we need a problem and by end they should get a solution. So this is how every story should have. So where the children also starts thinking, okay, if this is a problem, what could happen, how did he solve it. So we are giving them problem solving skills as well, we are inculcating that. So simple, like the rabbit lost his carrot, how will he find it? Include a catchy ending, like fun kuch hai, some maza aa gaya, carrot mil gaya rabbit ko, what happened, that way. Now see here, this is one particular story. I want you all, I won't narrate it, just go through it. You'll see there is repetition, you'll see there is a problem, you'll see there is a solution, you will see the introduction of the character, like the characters just come across, like the characters that are there. You will understand what all things, the familiar theme what we've taken, everything. This is like ticking all the 5 step boxes. So just read it once, teachers. I'll just take a water break. Just read it. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah. Okay. So done. So now I wanted you all to do this. Make a 5-line story. You can use, teachers can create a short interactive story and using the above steps. So in the end, I will give you 5 minutes or so. You can write down the story in the chat box itself. So everybody can read the story and take something and you can apply it in your school lesson plans as well. Okay. So we'll get back to this. And if I forget, remind me. Now, some practical storytelling activities which I have over here. Basically, it is to make the experience more memorable and meaningful for the children. Of course, overlapped hai, so I'll just brush past as fast as I can. Storytelling with props. Okay, abhi, props matlab you don't have to always come up with, think of it. एक paper print out लगा लो, stick लगा दो, stick puppet बन गया. Put it on the whiteboard or put it like that so you have a prop that way. So it's not that you have to go overboard for it, but yeah, like this. See, abhi for this also I like the very busy spider K-props, very easy and you can reuse it. If you use blue tack, these you can remove, stick these on the paper cups, plastic cups, and do it again. So this is nice, We can also use, when I thought of this, there are these stacking toys that come up, with those plastic cups. So you can do the story, put a picture on these, in preschools, of course, we have those, so you can use the story, use that as a prop and just stick pictures around it. And use that story as a prop for using sequencing also. So something like that. Don't go overboard. And one of the stories, the tiger came to tea. It is a classic. So when I was doing that story, I had only taken those animal figurines that we have, and I did the entire story, and I got a kitchen set which had a cup and a saucer and a small table and a chair or whatever. And I did the entire story using only those things. So props matlab you don't have to go completely into it, teachers. So because I know I have been there and I've done that and I know how taxing can it be. So that's why I'm just giving you some easy alternatives. Fun, engaging, like story stones. Abhi ye bhi cute hai. This I wish I was aware of this. I would want to actually try. Like just simple essay. Basic the stones we get, the smooth ones, clean it up, paint something on it, or like this, stick something small cutouts on it, and they can make their own story. So this is very cute. I like this idea also. And this is like, make in one go, make a few of them and, keep reusing it, keep applying it to whichever activity you wish to. Role play, of course, dramatization is like, yes, you teachers can come together and we can do so many different things, like that way. Then we have story sequencing cards. Now I have also made, I forgot to remove what I have. Like I have developed a set of cards which have these things, these stories, characters on it, and uh, setting, place setting, and all that issues, all those things, and you can use it. Like, see, if you give these story sequencing cards, so the children know. First, people will come in, then the cake comes in, they sing, then he blows the candle, then he cuts the cake and he gives the cake to everybody, and they're enjoying it. So, the sequence could be like this. Yeah, sorry for the background effect. Yeah. Story sound effects. Yes. Abhi, the way you're talking, when you are doing, those pitter patter, like, clap hands for thunder, then, like tap your fingers for light rain, everything. So you can do it this way. Just a moment, huh? Give me just a second, please. Sorry. Now we have another thing. We can make a group activity, that is create a classroom storybook. This is a fun thing. I mean, I have not done it. If you teachers do this, please do update us. Like, did the children enjoy doing the process? What all goals you wanted to reach to? Did you get it? I just want to know. So the activity, it encourages, teachers to involve children also. So like it's a collaborative project. So it's fun. So yeah. So the very first thing is how to conduct the activity. First is decide on a theme. जो ये वो 5 steps what we were talking earlier, the same thing we are doing it here. So decide on a theme. Like what theme do you want? A day at a park? Just discuss it with the children or go with the topic that you have or anything that you uh, yeah. anything that you want to, relate it to the concept that you teach or you may want to introduce. Just take that way and let the children vote. Like anything works. So I took, for example, the topic of a park. Okay. So now this is my basic setting. This is where the story revolves around, in the park. Now we have to build the story. So we will be introducing characters. So we'll ask now. So one any child would say, an alien will comes to the park, or any random thing. So try to direct them into the way where you want them. If you where you which characters you want related to the concept that you are planning to teach, or else just let the children do and vote about it and see. So do it that way. Once upon a time there was a little bird who wanted to touch the sky, who lived in the park and saw how the children would go up and down on the swing or on the seesaw, whatever. They can contribute, and you can entirely write the story, write the words down on a chart paper or a whiteboard, so that they remember these words were included, or the sentences that you are going to put across. So for example, you shortlist these characters. There is a frog, there's a ladybug, a little chick, and a bird. So the story starts revolving around it. They were friends, and blah 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 blah. I also, while talking to you all, I thought that instead of the chick we can have a caterpillar. So these four are good friends, the caterpillar, and they are talking. And one day they saw the caterpillar went to sleep, and in the garden, and the ladybug also was waiting, when will the caterpillar wake up so I can talk to him. And the frog is also sad that why is the caterpillar not coming out, he's just changed his house. And suddenly when the butterfly comes out, and they all are like, hello, where is my friend caterpillar? And the butterfly then recognizes, butterfly knows all of them who they are, and they are like, we don't know you. And karke, you can just do the, see, this was a story impromptu that just came out, and we got a story. Illustrate. Now assign the children each part of the story to draw, or give them cutouts and tell them to color it, or anything like this. And ye to, not for the story, but we used to give children blank sheets, though any empty chart paper, or which is of no use, or the one side is used, other side we would just give them whiteboard. We used to put whiteboard down and tell the children, give them markers and just tell them to draw. Or you can do it your story related, and this can be your storybook. Compile those pages. Now if you are giving different pages to the children, compile it into a book. If you are using this, you can either make it like a one huge thing, or else just compile it, give them sheets and do it. Nothing hi-fi. I am not telling you to go and bind it in the shop. A simple book you can make like this, and this can become your class storybook, teachers. So read the story aloud, and after that, celebrate the efforts that the children have put in making that book. Now, I am not saying that give every day 1 hour to your making the book. Since there is so much of curriculum also, and so many other activities that we need to do with the children. You can give a lot 10 minutes daily, where, or in before circle time, or during arrival time, or wherever you think you can fix it, and tell them, give them some work, assign them some work related to the story. So every day thoda thoda they are building the book, they are making it. It's a gradual process. They're learning how to be patient. There are so many things that they are learning. And encourage them to take turns, of course, and display the storybook like this is the trophy, this is something that we've made, and it is something, I'm trust me, the children will be very proud of it. Yeah, you can make copies also, that the children can also read the book with, the parents can read the book with the children. So it's a nice thing, you can try it, and it's a very different thing that I don't think most of the schools do it anyways. So it's a different thing that you can try, teachers. And please, if you are doing it, we would want to know how was that process of making a collaborative storybook with the children, and did you just enjoy that process or not? uh, how does it benefit the children, if you ask? It is, of course, their creativity is encouraged, imagination, they are learning so many new words, they are applying what all phrases, and they are expressing themselves very well. Of course, they are becoming confident. They are having that team. There's this uh, that bond that they create of building something together. And they are also, of course, now, like, this is a beautiful thing. You can try that definitely. Next, we have encouraging children to tell their stories. Now, initially in the thing that I said, anecdote, we can do the same thing. See, young children, they love to share their thoughts. But abhi jo, sometimes it is, like a haywire conversation wherein they'll talk about something, one sentence from here, other from there. How to construct it, how to structure it is where, once you start stories, they start applying that thing into their conversation. So, use story prompts, like, show them a picture. What do you think is happening here? Let them think. Who does this belong to? What do you think is their story? Ask them random things and you'll come to know that how much they know. Dramatic play, puppet stories kar do, like birthday party ka, whatever, like just giving you that thing. Use story stones or cards. Repetitive hai, so I'm not going to go into it. Yeah, this is interesting. Personal storytelling time. Have a story of the day where one child shares an experience. For example, what did you do this weekend? Encourage them to describe their emotions during the event. Like, uh, you know, start off with a child who can narrate, who can, narrate easily. Agar story of the day hai, so give them, like, you have, like, put a timer or that, I forgot the term, stand timer. I don't know what is it called. So you give it to them. I forgot the term. Sorry. So put it that way. So this much, how much you can talk about your story. Put across whatever you wish to share. Initially, start off with the children who are confident to come across and share. But then start slowly encouraging, once it becomes little normalized, encouraging those who are little shy to come ahead. All these things in future, it helps them being good orators. It helps them overcome the idea of stage fright, because वो concept है ही नहीं, because they have been talking about it. You can put a small stool or a pedestal to for them to stand and talk also. Story of the day to, like, so many things we can do. So they can discuss that also. uh, Turn drawings into stories. Now this was hamara favorite arrival time activity. We used to give them papers, half A4 sheet cut karke, or random papers we used to give, and just put crayons or sketch pens in the middle. The children would come and we would just tell them to draw. So initially only scribbling, then only flowers or only random one object. Then slowly you could see, car banaya hai. Then there are two people, some two people are sitting. Then there are trees or whatever the child must have seen in their thing what they did over the weekend. Most of the time we used to give this activity on Mondays. So we wanted them to recollect what all they've done and put it across. So, and then, we used to sit down and ask. And this was the time where we used to get the treasure of anecdotes with us. Like, because they would come up with interesting anecdotes, because they would express themselves, share their ideas with us, what they did. So, this is nice. Record and replay stories. Like, record. Oh, sorry, why is this happening? The children telling stories and play them back, like, record it in your phone or whatever, and tell them, see, this is an amazing story what she said, let the whole class hear about it. And the child will also feel good. It will boost their confidence, self-worth, self-respect, sub, like, it helps. How does it benefit? Just go through it. This is just the same thing. Sequencing hai, communication skills, confidence, imagination, sub, like, it's the same thing. Now, since we have last 5 minutes left, I have few questions, but 1 minute. This is okay. I want you all to answer this. I want it in the chat box. One sentence reflection. Share any one thing that you learned in a single sentence in the chat box for today's workshop. One thing. Come on, teachers. Last 5 minutes. Come on. I want you all to just what all, anything that you've learned or you liked, any technique or any practical activities, ideas, whatever you like today, one simple thing, and just share it. Come on, teachers. Hello, wake up. Personal storytelling. Yeah, that's my personal favorite as well currently. Story sequencing cards. Even the stone idea. Yeah, techniques to engage them in stories. Crop idea. Okay, like, flashcards. Yes. Facial expressions. So I know few teachers are writing about the personal storytelling thing. We would love to know how it works. Even creating a storybook, if you all like the concept, recording the story. Yes. Hmm. Okay, great, great, great. Thank you, teachers. So, if you all are okay, I would want to go back to this topic where you can use, where is it? One moment, please. Teachers can create interactive story using this. So, if you all can create, like if you all would want to share any 5 sentence story quickly, if that's okay, or else you can start giving your constructive feedback of how you felt for the stories, because now we will be meeting next month, so we have enough time to apply it. And yeah, so you can put across your concepts, and any doubts, any queries, you can definitely share it in the chat box.
हाई डिमांड फ्री कैश ऑन होल्ड।
I'm
हाँ, थोड़ी
trying
देर बाद
to
फिर करना। जब
like
तक आएंगे तब तक ना करना वो। अभी कह रहे फ्री कैश ऑन होल्ड। रोज क्या आप कौन स्टोरी वाली खाएंगे आटे? हाँ, रागी की ना? हाँ
Tamina
हाँ,
ma'am,
जल्दी कर
please
जाती हूँ।
mute yourself.
हाँ ठीक है। और वाली सादी नॉर्मल वाली 4 जना ये ले।
Okay. Okay, teachers. Then thank you. Thank you. Teacher has shared.
बाबू कहाँ बात है आज? बूबू बाबू शिक्कू शाकू बहुत कर रहा है। वालेकुम सलाम।
Teacher has shared a
और
story
कुछ
in
भेजो
the
दे।
chat box. Kindly have a look.
मटर में
And
मसाला आ रहा है,
thank you,
मटर में
teachers,
1000
to
सुनो।
involve me in story. Yeah. Uh, I would love to have a feedback on how you felt for the session. And till the time we see next class, so just take a 2 minutes out and give us a constructive feedback of how you felt these sessions, and if there's anything that we can improvise on. And yeah, that's it. 2 minutes, and then thank you so much.
आज धुलवा लीजिए
Pooja
उसके
ma'am.
बाद इसको यूज कीजिएगा। नहीं नहीं, अल्लाह हाफिज। अल्लाह हाफिज।
Pooja ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am, for taking the session, and thank you everyone for joining the session. And we will wait 2 minutes. And if you have any queries, now just put it on the chat, and we are putting our contact details also. And you can contact us if any queries are there. Thank you.
Manisha, have you noted all the numbers? And I think the Google form was given, right? Thank you, all the participants. Thanks for joining. If you are not filled the form, please fill the form and you can exit. Thank you. We are just ending the session now. Thank you.